Good morning. Good to be with you again this morning. As you know, we've been going through this week. We're building on the four pillars of a healthy Christian business leader, and the four pillars are basically simply healthy relationships, and then biblical financial values, and biblical spirituality, and then the final one is balanced living. And those are the four pillars that, as I speak week by week, we're going to be dealing with one of those each week and just kind of building on that throughout the months and the years to come. This week's focus is on healthy relationships. And the theme for this week has been simply the reality of made for relationship. So you and I, we are made for relationship. On Monday, we look at the fact that we were made on purpose, for purpose. And then Tuesday, we talked about the fact that we're of the animal kingdom, but we're not animals. Wednesday, the reality that God is not enough. And then yesterday, something lacking in paradise. And so that brings us to today. And today we are dealing with the fact that we're made for human connection. And this is just part of the reality of the way, God made us. He created us. As we already has looked at and talked about, that animals are great, and I love my dog, and I've had cats, and I've had other pets and other animals, and they're great, but they do not take the place of human connection. And so that's kind of where the focus is this morning. So this is our final segment this week, and next week we'll be starting up again on Monday, and the focus will be on pillar number 2, biblical financial values. And I'm going to be talking about the theme for next week is simply going to be when is enough enough. And so we're going to talk about that reality throughout the week. And I encourage you to join me live at 6:30. And I'd love to have you join me live. And otherwise, you'll be able to listen to it because it will be up on Facebook, Twitter, on my YouTube channel, as well as on LinkedIn. And so it'll be available there. It'll be also available as a podcast. And usually at some point through the day, I also put it up as a blog. If you want to read the transcript, you can do that as well. So when is enough enough? Not when is enough enough. We're not there yet. Made for human connections. So we looked at the fact that we are made on purpose, for purpose. And again, we're not animals. We're part of the animal kingdom. And God has designed us for human connection. So the question really this morning, as we've kind of wrapping this theme up, is how are you doing in the area of life and business? I mean, that really is the big challenge that I think as business people, we have to really work through and think about that question of how am I balancing that? And sometimes we can get, we can be great at connecting with potential clients, or even sometimes maybe with some colleagues. But often when it comes to connecting at home, that becomes a bigger challenge for us because we get so busy in all the things that we're doing for work and for the business that we kind of forget that the people that are closest to us, in essence, ought to be the ones that are most important to us as well. And although we might kind of believe that here, we know that, the reality is that sometimes we don't demonstrate that by how we connect with them, or in essence, how we are not connecting with them. So again, I want you just to think about this. What would be your biggest challenge when it comes to connecting with people? And to me, this is something that we need to really work on and work through, and realize that this is important for us, for our own health, but also for the health of the people around us as well. And when I say health, I'm talking, really it affects our entire being, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And so I want to encourage you, especially if you have a real challenge in this area, don't stop. Don't stop trying. And so here's a couple questions just to kind of think about is, when's the last time you and your spouse went on a date. It's important, right, to do that. Now that could be just, I mean, obviously in COVID days right now, you can't go out to a restaurant, depending on where you live, of course. But here in Ontario right now, you can't go to a restaurant. You can't go to a movie. You can't. There's so many things you can't do, but there are things that you can do, and so like my wife and I, we just go for walks, and it's just a real opportunity to connect and to be together and to just be able to talk to each other, and that's good. Now, my wife and I, our kids are raised, so we don't have the kids at home anymore, so it's just the two of us. But even just with the two of us, it can be very challenging at times to be connected because busyness of life just gets in the way. My wife works two jobs and I work two jobs, and then I'm doing this on top of that, and so it really does add up, and so you have to, on purpose, make plans to spend time together, and I would encourage you to do that. If it's been a while, take the initiative, and maybe you're not the one that normally is the one that takes the initiative in this, but I would encourage you, take the initiative, take time to really connect with each other. And then, are you making time for your children? If you have children, I mean, I don't know who all's watching here right now or listening, but if you have children, are you making time for them? I believe this is vitally important. And again, one of the challenges that we sometimes have is that we put business ahead of our family. One of the movies actually that really kind of struck me, and years ago, one of my colleagues used it in a message that he was giving at our church, and it was the captain, it was Hook, the movie Hook, and it's where the dad is at work and he's supposed to be coming to his son's baseball game just to watch. He's not the coach. He's just going to come and watch, and he doesn't show up. And when he finally gets there, he comes up over the hill, and it's completely empty. There's not a person in sight because he completely missed his kid's baseball game because he was putting work ahead of his kids. Now, I get it. There are times when we have to say, you know what, I really want to be there, but I can't. I need to get this done, or I need to get that done. And that happens, and I get that. But that shouldn't be the reality of everything that we do. And so I want to encourage you, make time for your kids. As a boss, do you work at connecting with your employees? Again, I mean, if you're the boss, sometimes the employees may not be comfortable with you. But sometimes that can be because, as a boss, we haven't taken the time to build a relationship with them. And yes, obviously there are times when you have to make the tough decisions, and they might not be your friends per se, because you might have to lay someone off, you might have to reprimand somebody, and we get that. But if you build a good relationship with your employees, then those situations become... It may be difficult in some ways, but on the other hand, they're also going to be working harder for you. You're going to have a better connection with them. So I encourage you, build those relationships. If you're an employee, build a relationship with your colleagues. It's so important to have good relationships with the people that you work with. And then, again, just a reminder, you're made for human connection. And in these COVID days, this has become harder, but it's not impossible. We can connect. We can do that. My wife and I are planning on playing a board game, with another couple, and we're going to do it via Zoom. And we both have the same game. That we're going to set the board up the exact same way, and every move they make on their end, we make their move on our end, and every move we make, they make. There are ways of connecting even with COVID, and so I encourage you, consider that. Consider ways to connect with people, and use your imagination in this day of COVID, I pray. And then today, as you go about your day, remember, you were made on purpose for purpose. You were made for human connection. May we live on purpose as we seek to connect with others throughout our day. And you know, a great way to connect with people is to be involved in your church this weekend. May the Lord bless you and have a great day.